Hi, my name's Jeff Major from Skyline Adjusters. I want to talk about claims, multiple peril claims, and claims in today's insurance claims environment. For those of you that have suffered hurricane, flood, wind damage, who are engaging professionals, I believe you should engage professionals, but you should understand what professionals you need to engage. So everybody has, or some people have, their remediation companies. They have their guy that's going to do the tarp, their roofer, their contractor. It's important in today's claims environment to document claims a certain way, a very, very specific way. Photos always, but at this specific loss, there was a Helene claim that had 6 inches of water, and then a Milton claim that had 40 inches of water. So, and there's different damages. So when you have, and this goes to people who have one claim. When you have a claim, you want to take photos, as many photos as you can. You want to identify what was in water, what wasn't in water, what was wet on the ceiling, what wasn't wet on the ceiling. You want to capture this, and you want to sort of map it, okay? There's professionals out there that moisture map. You could do it yourself. You just identify, you make a floor plan. This was wet, this ceiling was wet. You want to capture information at a certain time. We have clients that have assets that we go in prior to an event, and we document the condition of the building and their contents or their belongings prior to an event, so we have a baseline. For those of you watching the video that never had a claim before, document your house, right? Take photos, take videos, walk around your house, identify what's damaged, what's not, inside and out. If you're an asset owner, have somebody do this. Have a roofer come up and look at your roof and tell you whether it's in good shape or not. Get a report from them, because that becomes your baseline. Then when you have a claim or you have damage, you document it and it gets compared against your baseline. So for those of you that were in Helene and Milton, there's a question of what was documented in between. So some areas had little or no wind in Helene, but had a lot of wind in Milton. That's sort of easier to look at and separate. For those of you that had wind in both, what extent of damage was done in both, because you have two separate claims. Bringing in professionals is good. If your remediation company comes in and they're going to dry you, you want to say to them, can you map this first before you dry? It doesn't take long. And so I have a baseline. Then if 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, more water comes in and it's higher, or another peril comes, the guys that came in and moisture mapped for you are telling you the ceiling was not wet after event number 1 and is now after event number 2. If you're going to have a remediation company come in, listen, you need them, right? You don't want to grow mold, you want to have a safe environment. But what is a safe environment? A safe environment is after it's remediated and cleared by an environmentalist or a certified industrial hygienist. So with your remediation company, you want to say to them, I want to use an independent person to do exit testing or clearance testing. So you want to have, if guys come in, they remediate, they tell you, okay, everything's good, there's no mold, you're set. Well, it's proven by exit testing, by clearance testing. You want to get a hold of an environmentalist, get a hold of a professional. If you have a building that has open doors or windows, your insurance policy says that you have a responsibility to protect the property from further damage. Now, by the way, within reason, but you have to do something about it. If your window is broken on the second floor, then you need to board it up, or you need to have it covered up so you don't have additional water coming in. Whether you're tarping, shrink wrapping, blue tarp, plastic, boards, plywood, do something so you made an effort to mitigate your damages. So it's important that you look towards professionals for pre-loss, if it hasn't happened to you yet. Immediately post-loss, have an electrician check your electric, okay? Have a roofer check your roof. Have a environmentalist or a hygienist check your building. Have the remediation company will do a lot of those services for you. And then the most, or not most important thing, but for your health, is that you get clearance testing. When you identify those things and you set up your baseline pre-loss, then immediately post-loss, if another event comes in, you can address it because you have the baseline. The wind adjuster can come in and say, there was no damage the first time, I'm writing it all on my claim. The flood adjuster can come in and say, all right, you had a flood 2 weeks ago, it's with my same office, let me get the file. That's basically the baseline. If your flood adjuster came in and wrote a 2-foot flood cut, and now you have a 4-foot flood cut, his estimate of the 2-foot flood cut and that scope is your baseline for the first loss. So whatever's damaged now that's not in that estimate, you don't have to go fight the first loss. If you want to, you can, but it's likely your second adjuster will address it in the second loss. So that's my advice. Good luck.